Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? People who are watching from Zoom and YouTube, please confirm in the chat. Is my voice clear? Is my voice clear for everyone? Yes, good. Thanks for your confirmation, guys. Today is our second session for DevOps with AWS Cloud Master Program. In the last session, we discussed about what is prerequisite to attend this course and what is our course content, what we are going to learn as part of this DevOps with AWS course, who can attend this course, and how many days this course is going to take, what are the tools we are going to learn in the DevOps, and what are the services we are going to learn in AWS Cloud, which operating system we are going to learn as part of this course. All the details I have explained clearly in the last session. Right, this course is DevOps with AWS Cloud Master Program. My name is Ashok. I am the trainer for this course. So prerequisites, there is no specific prerequisites, guys. Anybody who are interested to learn this DevOps and AWS can be part of this training, and they can learn the DevOps and AWS, and they can attend the interviews to get the job, and you can get it also. Fine. Course content is divided into 6 modules. In the first module, we are going to learn DevOps introduction. So from today only, we are going to start the introduction for DevOps. What is DevOps? Where we are going to use the DevOps? How the DevOps is going to help us in the IT? We'll learn that. Once introduction is completed, then we will learn Linux with the shell scripting. Linux operating system is required for DevOps engineers to perform the operations on the projects. We will use Linux only in the real time as a DevOps engineer. Next, once Linux is done, we will go with the AWS Cloud. AWS Cloud is very, very important for us because we are going to set up the infrastructure of our application on the cloud platform. We are going to set up infrastructure on the cloud platform. So once AWS Cloud is done, then we will go with DevOps tools. So several DevOps tools we have to learn. Those tools are important. Most of our work will be on these DevOps tools only in the project. Okay. Next, we are going to understand how to set up this DevOps and AWS Cloud for real projects. After this, interview guide will be available for you. How to prepare the resume, how to attend the interviews, those things we are going to discuss. Next, who can attend this course? Undergraduates can do, graduates can do, IT people, non-IT people, working people, anybody who is having some gap also, they can also attend this course, no problem. Course details, as I mentioned, it is 4 months training program. So Linux, AWS and DevOps. So everyday live classes will be available Monday to Saturday. Daily 1.5 hour session will be available. 15 minutes discussion also we'll do. If anybody want to complete this course quickly, you can do DevOps and AWS parallelly, sir. Then you can complete the course within 2.5 months. DevOps and AWS, if you do parallelly, then you can complete the syllabus within 2.5 months time. So at 8 o'clock, DevOps is going to start in another 1 week to 10 days of time. You can attend the DevOps and AWS parallelly so that you can complete the syllabus quickly. Right. Daily class notes will be provided and backup videos will be provided for revision purpose, and course fees is 15,000 for live classes, backup videos and notes. DevOps tools, Maven, GitHub, Sonar, Nexus, Jenkins with pipeline, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana, ELK stack. These tools we are going to learn as part of our DevOps. At 8 a.m. when new batch is starting for only DevOps, you can attend the DevOps parallelly. To attend the DevOps tools, the prerequisite is Linux. So we are going to start the Linux in the next week. For Linux will be there for 1 to 2 weeks of time. By that time, DevOps is going to start. You will complete your Linux. So you can attend the DevOps at 8 o'clock parallelly. Right, only Linux is prerequisite to learn these tools. So Linux I will explain first, then you can attend the DevOps and AWS parallelly. Next one, coming to AWS cloud. So AWS cloud providing infrastructure as a service for us. So we can take the infrastructure for rent from the AWS cloud. In the AWS cloud, there are 200 plus services are available. So we are going to learn some of the services in the AWS cloud, which are really required to set up our project on the cloud platform. So I'm going to cover these services in the AWS: EC2, EBS, LBR, auto scaling. EC2 nothing but Elastic Compute Cloud, which is used to create virtual machines. EBS, Elastic Block Store, which is used to add the additional storage for our virtual machines, block storage. LBR, load balancing, auto scaling, S3 buckets for unlimited storage, Route 53 for domain mapping, RDS, relational database system, VPC, virtual private cloud, IAM, identity access management, which is used to manage the permissions of our cloud users. ECS, Elastic Container Service, to run the Docker containers on the AWS, we can go for ECS. EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, to create Kubernetes cluster on the AWS, we will go for EKS. Elastic File System, if you want to share any file with multiple virtual machines, you can go for AWS. CLI, command line interface, you can operate the AWS cloud from the command line also. Cloud formation, using templates we are going to create the infrastructure. Cloud watch is used to monitor the resources in the AWS. If any resource is not working properly, then we can get some alerts from the AWS by using this CloudWatch monitoring service. Lambdas, which are used for serverless computing. Nowadays lambdas are having lot of demand. Lambdas are used to work with serverless computing in the AWS cloud. Then some notification services are available. Simple notification service, simple email service, simple queue service, like that. There are several services are there in the AWS. We are going to learn those services here. Are you clear with my point? I hope you are good with the details of the course syllabus, course prerequisites and all. Chalo, let's try to understand what is the DevOps today. Okay, fine. So if anybody want to see the detailed course content, we have syllabus copy in our website. You can download that PDF document using the link which I have shared in the chat box. I have shared syllabus document link in the chat box. So once you click on that link, you will go to our website. Once you click on that link, you will go to you will be redirected to our website. In that website, you can see download course content option. You can see, if you click on this, you can see the PDF document. You can go through the course content of our DevOps. Clear for all of you? Good. So this is detailed syllabus. You can download syllabus copy. You can download from our website. Good. Fine. Thank you, guys. So let's try to understand what is this DevOps. What is DevOps? Can anyone respond in the chat box in your point of view? What is DevOps? So you are here to learn the DevOps, right? You might have inquired about DevOps, or somebody might have suggested you to learn the DevOps, or maybe your project is having a requirement to use the DevOps. So that is the reason you are here. You are attending these classes. What is the meaning of this DevOps? What do you know about the DevOps? Somebody saying DevOps is a deployment tool. Somebody saying that it is development plus operations. Somebody saying process to deliver, automation process. DevOps is a process to handle the project to the client smoothly. Okay. Automation process to delivery. It is a tool to deploy. Anything else? DevOps is a process to adapt, a culture to automate the delivery process. Next. DevOps involves development plus maintenance. Only few people are responding. Remaining people, please be participate. Please be active in the session. and participate in the session, then you will get good knowledge, guys. If you participate in the session, then you will get good knowledge. Please respond to my question. What is DevOps in your point of view? Whether it is right or wrong, that is not important today. We all are here to discuss about the DevOps only. Come on, remaining people are not responding. Only very few people are responding. 10 to 20 people, 15 to 20 people are responding. What about the remaining? What is DevOps? First of all, DevOps is the combination of two terms. One is development, second one is operations. DevOps nothing but development plus operations. It is the combination of development and operations. DevOps is a culture. DevOps, there are multiple definitions are available for what is DevOps. We can say DevOps is a culture. We can say DevOps is a process. We can say DevOps contains set of instructions. DevOps contains a set of instructions, or we can say set of best practices. DevOps is a culture. DevOps is a process. DevOps nothing but a practice. DevOps nothing but a practice. DevOps is a process. DevOps is a culture. So DevOps actual meaning development plus operations. DevOps set of practices. DevOps is set of practices. So there are multiple definitions available for DevOps. All these are correct. DevOps is a culture. DevOps is a process. DevOps nothing but set of practices. DevOps is set of practices. All these are true. DevOps is the current trend in the market. DevOps is current trend in the market, which is used to simplify application delivery process. DevOps process will help us in simplifying. DevOps process will help us in simplifying project delivery process. DevOps culture, or I can say DevOps process or DevOps practices. DevOps practices are used to automate application delivery process. DevOps culture is used to automate project delivery process to the client. Project delivery process to client. DevOps process will help us in simplifying project delivery process. DevOps process or DevOps culture is used to automate project delivery process to client easily and quickly. We can deliver our project to the client. We can deliver project to client using DevOps culture or using DevOps practices. Using DevOps, we are going to establish collaboration between development team and operations team. Using DevOps culture or DevOps process or DevOps practices, using DevOps culture, we can establish collaboration between development and excuse me guys, between development and operations teams. So in the project, developers will be available and operational team members will be available. Developers are responsible to project development. Operations teams are responsible to do the operations, create the infrastructure and deliver the project to the client. So development team is working, operations team is working. There should be some collaboration between the development team and operations team so that we can make our project delivery easy. We can simplify project delivery process. Quickly, we can deliver the project to the clients. Easily, we can deliver the project to the client by following this DevOps culture. DevOps is not like a separate technology. DevOps is not a programming language, guys. DevOps is one culture. DevOps is one process. DevOps nothing but set of practices we are going to follow. The best practices we are going to follow to simplify and to automate project delivery process. We are going to develop a project based on the client requirement. Whatever the project we are developing, smoothly, quickly, easily, we should be able to deliver that project to the client. So in order to simplify, in order to automate the project delivery process, we are using this DevOps culture. Are you guys clear with my point? Mainly non-IT people. Are you able to understand what is this DevOps? DevOps is the combination of two terms. One is development and the second one is operations. Project will have a development team and project will have operations team. So using this DevOps culture, we are going to set up the collaboration between the what development team is doing, what operations team is doing. Everybody should know each and everything in the project. What the developers are developing, what the operations teams are delivering to the client. There should be a collaboration. To establish that collaboration, we are going for a DevOps. DevOps is not a programming language, guys. Remember that point. It is not like Java, Python, C Sharp. Java is programming language, Python is programming language. They are used to develop the project. DevOps is a culture which is used to deliver the project to the client. You are not going to do the development of the project. You are going to deliver the project using DevOps practice. DevOps is a culture. DevOps is a process. DevOps is nothing but set of practices that we are going to follow. DevOps process will help us in simplifying project delivery process. DevOps culture is used to automate project delivery process to clients, right? Easily and quickly we can deliver project to client using DevOps practices or using DevOps culture. Using DevOps culture, we can establish collaboration between development and operations team, and operations team using this DevOps culture, right? So what is the duty of the development team and what is the duty of operations team? Development team will be available for every project. So these guys responsible to develop the project. That is nothing but coding by using Java or Python or .NET or Node.js. They will use some programming language. They will use some programming language in order to develop the project. Development team is responsible to develop the project. They are going to do coding. Now, operations team will be available, responsible to deliver the project to the client. Responsible to deliver the project to client. It is called release process. The process of delivering the project to the client is called as release. Operations teams are responsible to release the project to the client. Development team is responsible to do the coding. So for the project, coding will be available and the release process will be available. Development team is doing something, operations team is doing something. So there should be collaboration between development team and operations team. So in order to establish the collaboration between the development team and operations team, we are following some practices. Those practices are called as DevOps. It is a process. It is a process. Now, let us see what the development teams are going to do. So here in our project, multiple developers will be available, guys. It is not about only one person is going to do entire project. So set of team members will be available. So let's assume that there are 3 people are available who are belongs to development team. These are also called as programmers, developers. These people are responsible to develop the project by doing some coding using one programming language. Assume that these are Java programmers. It is our development team, dev team. This dev team is responsible to do coding. So developers will be available in different locations. Due to this pandemic, people are working from home. So they are going to do, company will provide a laptop for everybody and they are going to get the requirements from the functional team, and they are going to analyze the requirement, and they are going to develop the code. So everybody doing the coding for the same project, different functionalities are available. Okay, whenever they have done that coding, they should keep all the developers code at one place. They should keep all the developers code at one place. To keep all the developers code at one place, we are going to use one repository server. In order to store all the developers code at one place, we are going to use one repository server. So which repository servers we are going to use? In the market, there are several repository servers are available. One is GitHub. Another one is Bitbucket. GitHub is one of the repository server. What is the purpose of this GitHub? GitHub is a repository server which is used to store the source code of our project. Who is going to do the coding and who is going to store the code into repository server? That is the duty of development team members. That is the duty of development team members. Developers will do the coding by using Java or Python or .NET. They will do the code. Once their coding is completed, they will do the testing of that code. Whatever the code they have written, is that code working as expected or not? They are going to test it. So they are responsible for coding as well as they are responsible for testing. Whatever the code they have written, is that code working as expected or not? They have to test it. They are responsible for development as well as testing. Whatever the code they have written, is that code working as expected or not? They have to test it. Once their testing is completed, if the code is working as expected, then these people are going to push the code into repository. Which repository we are going to use? We are going to use GitHub as a repository. We are going to use GitHub repository. It is used to push the code into developers are going to push the code into GitHub repository. Fine, code is available in the repository. Now what we need to do? We need to deliver that code to the client. Okay, can we directly give the Java code to the client? Can we ask the client to execute? Can we directly give the code which is done by the developers to the client? Can a client understand the code? If a client understand the code, why client will come to our company to develop the project? Client only can develop the project, right? Can we directly give the code done by the programmers? Development team has done some code. They have stored the code into GitHub. Can we give the GitHub repository to the client? Hey client, coding is completed. Please take this code. Can we tell like that? Why we can't? Why we should not give the code to the client directly? Some clients are non-technical people. They don't know what is Java. They don't know what is Python. They don't know what is .NET. Clients don't know what is Java, what is Python, what is .NET. Whatever the code we have done whatever the code is done by the developers, if you give that code to the client directly, client cannot do anything because the client is not a programmer. Client is not a developer. Client is not a DevOps engineer. Client nothing but a businessman who don't know technology. We should not give the code to the client directly. Are you clear with my point? Yes. So whatever the code is done by the developers, we need to deliver that code as a executable project. We need to deliver that code to the client in the form of one executable project. Understand my point? Okay, here how we need to deliver that code to the client as a executable project? In order to deliver that project to the client, we need some servers. We need some computers to run our application. Okay, here guys, I'm going to take some computers. So here in the terminology at the time of project development, we are going to call it as web server. I'm going to take some web server. In those web servers, I'm going to deploy my application. So here, whatever the application we are developing, that application will be executed by one server. So that server which is going to execute our application is called as web server. Our application will be executed in multiple web servers, not in the single web server. Why? Because if application is executed in the single web server, that may not be able to handle the load, that may not be able to handle the load. So that is the reason our application will be executing in multiple web servers. So we need to create web servers. That means we need to create some machines. We need to take some computers. In those computers, we are going to install the softwares which are required to run our application. Suppose this application developed by using Java. So we need to take the computer. In that computer, we need to install the Java software, and we need to install server also in that software. Server software also we need to install. Our application will use one database. Application will use one database like Oracle database or MySQL database will be available, which is used to store the data. You are creating a account in the Facebook, you are registering, your data will be stored into database. So the application which is running in the web server will be interacting with the database server to store the data. For every application, database will be available which is used to store the data. So we need to take some servers. So these are called as web servers, and we need to take a database server. We need to set up the database software. We need to set up a web server. We need to set up the Java software to run our application. All this infrastructure creation we have to do. So this is called infrastructure setup. So servers we need to set up, database we need to set up, and we need to deploy our application. This database, these servers, instead of we are purchasing with our money, we can take this infrastructure for rent from AWS cloud. Who is going to provide this infrastructure for us? This infrastructure will be provided by AWS cloud. You no need to pay the money to purchase the softwares, because purchasing the softwares is costly. Lot of money you have to invest. If you want to purchase the machines, servers, licenses and all, okay, fine, you are Karodpati, you have money, you are going to purchase everything with your money. But who will set up? Do you know how to set up the database? Do you know how to set up the network? Do you know how to set up the security? Do you know how to install the server? Some people know, some people don't know. If you have money, you can purchase. If you purchase, again you have to recruit the people to set up the things to work together. So that infrastructure setup is a difficult process and it is a costly process. That is the reason nowadays what people are doing. Array, instead of we are setting up all these things, let us take for rent. Let us take for rent. A simple example. In your house, one function is there. Family function is there. Your brother marriage is there next week. For your brother marriage, you are inviting 1,000 guests, your friends, your relatives, etc., etc. 1,000 people are coming to your house for your brother's marriage. So you need 1,000 chairs, you need 500 tables, you need a stage, you need decoration, you need lighting, everything. Are you going to purchase tables, chairs, lighting, decoration, everything? Can you purchase 1,000 tables, 1,000 chairs, 500 tables, decoration material, that generator, power, lights, bulbs, everything? Are you going to purchase, guys, for your brother's wedding? You can purchase now, because next year you will also get marriage. You can use it for your marriage also. After that, you will get kids. For your kids' birthday also, you can use the same material. Chairs and tables, lights, generators, everything. Are you going to purchase that material for your brother's function, so that you can use it for your marriage also next year, or after 2 years, or after 3 years? What is the problem if you purchase? Lot of money. Lot of money you have to invest. Even if you invest, you have to arrange everything. Okay, you spend 1 crore rupee, you purchased everything. After marriage completed, where you will store that material? Can you keep 1,000 chairs in your house? 500 tables in your house? Is your house space is sufficient for that? No. Purchasing is difficult. That is first step. Maintenance is second step. Purchasing is but purchasing means costly. Maintenance is also difficult. So that is the reason what people will do. What people are going to do, for whatever the material, tent material we need, that shamiana material we need for the function, are we going to purchase, or we are going to take it for rent for 2 days? We will pay 1 lakh rupees for rent for 2 days of time. They will bring everything, tables, chairs, kitchen material, whatever you want for your function, everything they will bring. They will arrange everything for you for 2 days. You will give 1 lakh rupees. After a function completed, they will disassemble everything. They will take and everything they will go. Function is completed. You are happy. Just with 1 lakh rupees, you are able to arrange everything. After 2 days, they have taken their material back. Do you need to bother about that 1 lakh? Do you need to bother about the maintenance? Do you need to bother about the setup? Nothing is required. Similarly, when you want to develop a project, you need several servers, you need several machines, you need storage, you need power, you need a network. So setting up the infrastructure is very difficult. So that is the reason we will take the infrastructure for rent. Whatever the softwares you need, whatever the servers you need, whatever the network you need, power, storage, computing, backup, recovery, everything you can take for rent. Complete IT setup you can take for rent, which is used to develop and deploy your applications. Who will provide the softwares for rent? Who will provide infrastructure for rent? There are cloud providers are available. Who are those cloud providers? AWS, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Alibaba Cloud, Oracle Cloud, IBM Cloud, VMware Cloud. Oh my God, there are n number of cloud providers are available in the market who will give you infrastructure for rent. You understand my point why we are learning AWS? In the companies, tomorrow, companies are going to purchase the computers, purchase the servers, purchase the database, or they are going to take that infrastructure for rent from the AWS? Simple. You understand now what is AWS? AWS nothing but it is a cloud platform. AWS will provide the infrastructure for rent. How many days you want, you use it, you pay the rent for that. It is like a postpaid bill. You want 10 servers, take it. You want database, take it. You want storage, take it. You want network, take it. You want backup, take it. Everything, whatever you need for your project, everything is already available in the AWS. Ready-made services are available. Do you want database? Within 5 minutes, you can set up the database in the AWS. Do you want a web server? You can set up within 5 minutes of time. You want storage? You can set up. You want security? You can do that. You want backup? You can do that. You want web servers? You want database servers? You want network? You want power? You want storage? You want compute? Everything, guys. Whatever you need for your project, everything will be provided by cloud provider. AWS is one of the cloud provider available in the market. Understood? Development team is available. Development team is doing the coding. They will write the programs. Whatever the programs they develop, they will store the programs in the GitHub repository. Some people will use GitHub. Some people will use Bitbucket. So there are so many repository servers are available. Earlier, when I started my career in the IT, I worked with the SVN. SVN is a repository server which is used to store source code of the project. Developers will do the coding, right? That code will be stored to repository. There are several repository servers are available. Earlier, long back, we used to work with SVN, but now it got outdated. After that, people are using GitHub. Nowadays, in some companies, they are going for Bitbucket. Like that, there are several repository servers are available in the market. Projects will use any one of the repository server. SVN almost outdated. SVN almost outdated. Most of the companies are preferring GitHub and Bitbucket as a repository server. Okay, guys. Now, development team is available. They will develop the programs. They will test the programs. They will store the code into repository. That repository is source code repository. Whatever the code done by the developer, that code will be stored into repository. It's not one developer, guys. In that project, multiple developers will be available. It is called as a development team. Dev team will be available. All the developers will write the coding for the functionalities of the project. They will test that code. They will store the code into repository. Which is the repository for our project? Either GitHub or Bitbucket. SVN is outdated. If you want to learn the SVN, you can go through our Ashok IT YouTube channel. So long, I think 2-3 years back, I uploaded the videos related to SVN. In the recent batches, I'm not teaching the SVN because people are not asking that in the interview. Even in the real time also, demand is not there for SVN. Still, if your project is having a requirement of SVN, if you want to learn the SVN tutorial for beginners, I have uploaded 4 videos on the SVN. SVN introduction, SVN 2, 3, 4, 4 videos, almost 3.5 hours to 4 hours. I explained about SVN. If anybody want to learn that SVN, you can go through these videos and you can learn. I explained how to install SVN, how to set up the SVN, how to perform operations with the SVN. But in the recent batches from last 1 year, I'm not teaching that SVN because it is outdated. Understood? Good, fine. So developers will do the coding, will write the code, will do the code, will store the code into repository. Now we need to deploy the code into server. We need to deploy the code into server. Where the servers are available, some companies will maintain the servers on their own. They will not go for computing. They will not go for cloud. They will directly purchase the servers. They will set up the servers. That is called on-premises infrastructure. On-premise infrastructure. On-premises nothing but they will purchase the computers. They will set up the servers. They will set up the database. Everything they will manage. But nowadays, that on-premises infrastructure is very less in the industry. People are migrating to cloud computing. Why we are going for cloud computing? We no need to manage anything. We just to pay the money, enjoy the services. That's it. Okay, fine. So code is available, servers are available, our environment is available in the AWS. We will prepare this environment as a DevOps with AWS engineer. We are responsible to create the servers in the AWS cloud. Creating the servers means creating the virtual machines in the AWS and installing the softwares which are required to run our application. That is called infrastructure setup. What we are going to do here, guys? We are going to do infrastructure setup in the AWS cloud. What is the meaning of infrastructure setup? Creating the machines, installing the softwares which are required to run our application. That is called infrastructure setup. So some companies will do infrastructure setup on premises. Some companies will do infrastructure setup on the cloud. Okay, fine. Once it is done, how this code will go to these servers? Development is already completed. Then how this code will go to these servers? Somebody should be there who will take the code from the server, who will take the code from the repository and deploy the code into server. That's where DevOps engineer comes into picture. Who is the mediator between this dev team and this infrastructure? DevOps engineer. So we are going to work as a DevOps operations engineer. Operations IT ops team will be available. Ops teams will be available. Ops team nothing but operations team. What is the duty of this operational team? These operational teams are responsible to take the code done by the developers from the repository, do some operations on that code, then deploy that code into server which is running on the cloud platform. That is called project delivery process or project deployment process. Earlier, long back, 10 years back, 15 years back, people used to do this deployment manually. But nowadays, we are using tools to automate project delivery process. 10 years back, 15 years back, people used to take the code from the GitHub, then package that code, then deploy the code into servers. That was the manual deployment process 15 years back. But today, automation. You no need to do anything manually. You can completely automate your project delivery process. That is called DevOps practices. The DevOps practices are going to help us in automating project deployment process, project delivery process. Developers are writing the code. Developers are storing the code into repository. How that code will be delivered to the client? Are we going to give the code directly to the client? Can we ask the client to execute the code by learning Java? Are we going to give the code to the client directly? Are we going to give the code to the client directly? Clients can understand Java? No, clients cannot understand Java because clients are not programmers. Clients are business people. They don't know technology. As they don't know technology, they are giving the money for our company to develop the project for their business, man. Then why you will give the source code to the client? Clients don't know the technology. Clients don't know the programming. That is the reason client is paying money for the company, company developing the project, company giving the project to the client to run the client business. So you should not give the code for the client. Even if you give, they don't understand it. Then what we need to do? Development is done. After development is completed, we cannot give the code to the client directly. We need to do operations here. What we need to do, guys? We need to do operations here. What is the meaning of operations? Taking the code from the GitHub, compiling the code, checking the code quality, packaging the code, deploying the code into the server. Those are called operations. So what operations we need to perform for our application now? Download the code. So are you going to take the code from the developers? Go to the developers location, ask the developer, hey, please copy your code into my pen drive. Please give me your code. Please give me your code. I want to deploy. Are you going to beg the developers to get the source code which is done by them? No, you will not ask the developers to give the code. Developers will store the code into GitHub. So from where you need to take the code? Are you going to take the code from the developers directly, or you need to take the code from the repository? Come on, as a operational engineer, you are going to beg the developers to get the source code, or you are going to take the code from the Git repositories? Please respond, guys. If you respond to my questions, then only you will understand the subject. If you participate in the session, then only you will get the subject. If you don't participate, if you sit idle, you will feel sleepy and you will sleep. You will not understand anything. Please involve. Please respond to my questions. Please respond to my questions. So as in now, I am one operational engineer, guys. I am one operational engineer. My duty is deploying the code into servers. Am I going to beg the developers, please give me your code, I will give you one chocolate? Are you going to beg like that? No. From where you need to take the code? Who will give the code for you? Will anybody give the code for you, or you need to take the code from the repository? You need to take the code from the repository. So developers will store the code into repository. You need to take that code from the repository. So we need to perform some operations. So what are the operations we need to do for our project? We need to set up infrastructure. Set up infrastructure. What is the meaning of infrastructures? The computers that we need to run our application, the servers that we need to run our application, database that we need for our application, machines creation, machines setup. That means computers setup you need to do. And at the same time, you need to install softwares installations, which are used to run our application, servers setup, machines setup, software installations we need to do, server setup you need to do to deploy your project, database setup you need to do, which is used to store the data, DB setup you need to do, storage setup you need to do, storage setup which is required for our application, network setup you need to do, which is used to run our application. All these things comes under infrastructure setup. Once you do this infrastructure setup, right, then next, what is the next step? Take the code from repository. Take code from Git repo. Developers are storing the code into Git repository. You need to take the code from the Git repository. I will tell you how to take the code from the Git repository as part of our course. You are going to understand how to work with the Git. Take the code from the Git repository. After taking the code from the Git repository, then we are going to compile the code. That means whatever the code done by the developers, that code will not be executed directly in the computers. Computers will understand machine language, binary language, right? Computer will understand only ones and zeros. but developers are writing the program by using Java. Computer will understand binary language. Project is developed by using Java. There is a gap. There is a gap, right? If I teach this class in Telugu, will everybody understands that? No. Some people are from South, some people are from North, some people are from foreign countries. So Telugu is not known for everybody who is attending this session. So can I teach this class in Telugu? Can I teach this class in Hindi? Some people are from different states. They don't know Hindi. They don't know, everybody don't know Telugu. Everybody don't know Hindi. That is the reason we are using English. It is a global language. Everybody will understand. Same problem. My computer, whatever I am saying, that server is deployed in a computer. Computer will understand 101010 binary language. But a project is developed by using Java language. Java, binary, both are different. Now we need to convert our Java program into binary language. That's where compilation comes into picture. We need to compile the code and package that code. Compile the code and package the code. Packaging means packaging we are going to do. That means several programs will be available. We are going to package that code into one single entity, one jar file or one war file. Once this compilation and packaging is completed, then we need to check the code quality, code review, quality checking. Developers, अच्छा developer है और फालतू developers है, इधर पता चलेगा. How we are right, how that quality is available for that code. Are those developers are following the standards? Are those developers are doing the coding in the proper manner or not? That code quality we are going to check. Code review we are going to perform. If a code review is passed, if everything is successful, then finally we are going to deploy the project into server. Deploy the project into servers. This is project delivery process. These are called as operations that are required to deliver one project to the client. At final step, at last step, the project will be deployed into these servers. That is what we are accessing now. Now, today you are accessing our website. What is the meaning of that? This project developed by programmers, that project is compiled, that project is packaged, that project code review happened, everything is success. Finally, that project we deployed into server and we mapped that project to our domain name. Using this domain name, you are able to access our application. Whatever the application you are accessing, the Ashok IT website you are accessing, lot of things happened in the background to access this application. Development completed, deployment completed. That is the reason you are able to access this project from your browser. Similarly, tomorrow in the company, client will give you a project for us. We need to perform these operations for the project. Here, if you observe, two things are available, guys. Here, if you observe two things, not only development is available, at the same time, operations also available. So this is development process. This part is done by the programmers. So I'm circling this. This part is done by the developers. Then who will do this part? This part will done by operations team. Now we are going to combine this development plus operations, that is called DevOps. Development plus operations. Are you clear with my point? Are you guys understanding what I am explaining, or it is going over your head? Is it injecting into your brain or it is going over your brain? Now tell me, what is DevOps? I want everybody to respond in the chat. I want everybody to respond in the chat. Now tell me, what is DevOps? What is DevOps, guys? Can I say DevOps is one programming language? DevOps is like Java. DevOps is the sister for Python. DevOps is father of Java. Can I say like that? No. What is DevOps? DevOps is a process. DevOps is a culture. DevOps nothing but set of practices. So why we are using this DevOps culture? To simplify project delivery process, to simplify project release process, to automate project delivery process, Development team is doing the coding. That code we cannot give to the client directly. Clients cannot understand that. Even computer also cannot understand that code. Forget about client. Computer also cannot understand the code which is done by the developers. Developers are writing the code by using Java or Python. Computer will understand only binary language. So in order to execute the code in the computer, we need to do some operations on that. Then only we can execute it. Same process. Clients can understand, client cannot understand our code. We need to do some operations on that code. Those operations will done by operations team. So development team will be available. Operations teams will be available to establish the collaboration between development team and operations team. We are using DevOps. That is development plus operations. Are you guys clear with my point? Right. So these operations earlier, 10 years back, 15 years back, people used it to perform these operations manually. Manually, they are going to purchase the computers, they are going to install the softwares, they are going to download the code, they are going to compile the code, they are going to package the code, they will do code review, they will deploy the code into server manually. But today, is that manual process available? Manual process will take a lot of time. Manual process will take a lot of time. We are going to automate this process. How we are going to automate this process? Using DevOps culture, using DevOps tools, we are going to automate. Now, if you learn the DevOps, what you are going to do in the company? If you learn the DevOps, whatever the operations that are required for the project, instead of doing these operations manually, we can automate these operations by using tools that are available in the market. What are the tools we need to use? First, we need to use GitHub. What is GitHub? GitHub is a repository which is used to store the source code. Sir, how to set up this infrastructure in the AWS cloud? How to install the softwares in the AWS cloud? To set up the infrastructure in the AWS cloud, to set up this infrastructure in the AWS cloud, there is a tool called Terraform. What is the tool we are going to use, guys? To set up the infrastructure, we are going to install one software. That software name is Terraform. What is purpose of Terraform? Terraform is used to set up the infrastructure on the cloud with the automation. You no need to create the machines manually in the AWS. So let me show you. So we have our AWS cloud. As I told you, AWS is a cloud provider. So I have an account in the AWS. In this course, you will understand how to work with this AWS. I have my AWS account. You see, in this AWS account, I have created 19 machines. In my AWS, how many instances are available? 19 computers I have taken from the AWS for rent to teach the DevOps AWS course for the people. See here, if you see, Kubernetes is available, Jenkins available, Tomcat available, Nexus available, Tomcat, Sonar, Nexus, Jenkins, Kubernetes, Docker, Ansible, Terraform also will be available somewhere. I think I have, yeah, Terraform is also available. So these 19 machines I have taken for rent to teach DevOps and AWS for our people. So do I really need to purchase 19 computers to discuss this course? No, we can take the infrastructure for rent. Who is providing these machines for rent? These machines are provided by AWS cloud. So these machines you can create manually. Suppose I want one computer from the AWS. I want to learn the Linux. I want to learn the Linux. Okay, so you no need to purchase another computer to practice the Linux. So you will go to AWS. There is an option called launch instance. Here, there they will tell you what type of Linux you want. I want Amazon Linux. Select these operations. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. That's it. One Linux machine will be created. That's it. I got one Linux machine. I created a Linux machine within fraction of seconds. This is my Linux computer. It is creating, it is pending. So within 1 or 2 minutes, this machine will be ready. Now I will connect to this machine using Putty software and I will practice the Linux. I will install my servers. I will install my servers on the Linux. You got my point? How technology is now. See, my machine is ready. This is my Linux machine. This is my Linux machine. There is a public IP. Using this public IP, I can connect to this machine and I can install my softwares. But today, now what I have done, I created this machine manually. But currently in the industry, people are going to automate that infrastructure creation. How we are going to automate the infrastructure creation? Using one tool. What is that? Terraform. Terraform is one software which is open source software. Using this Terraform software, we can create the machines in the AWS cloud by writing some code. Infrastructure we can create by using some code. That is IAC, infrastructure as a code, using Terraform. Okay, Terraform will help you to create the machines, to create the databases, whatever the resources you want to set up in the AWS. There are two options. You can set up manually by using this GUI, web console. So this is our AWS management console. You see what is this? It is console, GUI console we are using to set up the infrastructure on the AWS. Instead of setting up that infrastructure using this GUI manually, you can set up that automatically by writing some Terraform scripts. Terraform software is available. Once the Terraform is created, the resources in these machines, 3 web servers, nothing but 3 computers, 3 virtual machines. In these machines, I want to install Java, I want to install Git, I want to install Maven, I want to install Jenkins, install Docker, install Kubernetes. Instead of we are installing the softwares manually in all these computers, we can use one more tool that is called Ansible. There is a software available which is called Ansible. So Terraform is used to create the infrastructure. Ansible is used to install the softwares in the machines which are created by the Terraform. Instead of you are installing the softwares manually in the machines, you can use one software called Ansible software. Ansible is used for configuration management. What is the meaning of configuration management? Installing the softwares, updating the softwares, deploying the application, everything you can manage by using Ansible. Suppose if I want to install Java in these 3 web server machines, I should connect to machine 1, install Java, check it. Connect to machine 2, install the Java, check it. Connect to machine 3, install the Java, check it. If I have 100 computers like this, is it easy installing the Java software in 100 computers? Okay, you spent 3 days of time, you installed Java 1.8 version in 100 computers. After 1 week, your client told, don't use Java 1.8, go for Java 11 version. Then again, you need to go to all the 100 computers, one after other, one after other. You need to update the Java from 1.8 to Java 11. It will take a lot of time. So to reduce that manual process, to avoid that manual process, to manage the configurations required for our application, we are using Ansible. Guys, are you able to understand what is a Terraform, what is Ansible? Terraform is used to create the infrastructure. Ansible is used to manage the configurations. Next up, Git is available. You should know Git because here we are storing the code in the Git repository. I mean, developers are going to store the code in the Git repository. Then what we need to do as an operational engineer? As an operational engineer, we need to take the code from the Git. Okay, now let me show you. There is a Git repository which I am using for my classes. Okay, let me go to our Ashok IT GitHub account. Let's go to Ashok IT GitHub account. In the GitHub account, I have stored lot of projects. Go to this GitHub. Here, how I github.com. Yep. So this is our GitHub account, my GitHub account, my personal Git account. So here I have created one Maven project. I have the Maven project here. You need to download this code from the Maven, from GitHub, which is using by using some Git clients. Okay. So you are going to learn how to work with the Git. Here, take the code from the Git repo. How we are going to take the code from the Git repo? By using Git software. By using Git software, you are going to take the code from the Git repo. Next one, we need to compile the code and we need to package the code. Why compilation is required? Why packaging is required? Code is developed by using Java. Okay, computers don't know Java. Computers knows only binary language. Then what should I do? I need to convert the Java code into computer understandable format. For that, I am going to use one software called Maven software. Maven tool I am going to use. Maven is a build tool which is used to compile the project and which is used to package the project. Okay, once Maven is compiled our project, we need to check whatever the code done by the developers. Is it quality? Is there quality for that? Are they following all the coding standards? Is that code is having good quality or bad quality? We need to check it as a DevOps engineer. How we will check that code? Are you going to see each and every line of that code? For example, this is my Java project, morning batch, Spring Boot. If I open this code, can you understand? Understand what is this code? It is Java code. Can you understand as a DevOps engineer? No, you don't know the coding. You don't know the Java. So for that, what we do? We will use one software called Sonar. Which software we are going to use? Sonar Cube. What is the purpose of Sonar Cube? Sonar Cube is used to do the code review. We don't know the programming. That's why we will use a Sonar Cube to perform the code review. Sonar Cube will tell code is having quality or not. That's it. Once it is done, we need to deploy the code into servers. Instead of doing the deployment manually, how we are going to deploy the code into servers? For doing the deployment, we are going to use Jenkins. What we will be using, guys? Jenkins we are going to use to deploy the code. Terraform is used to create the infrastructure. Ansible is used to manage the configurations. GitHub, which is used to store the code, and Git is used to take the code. Maven is used to compile the project. SonarQube is used to do the code review. Jenkins is used to deploy the code. And in order to do this deployment simply, in order to run the project easily in multiple machines, we are going to use Dockers and Kubernetes. Docker will be available, Kubernetes will be available. Docker and Kubernetes to simplify application deployment process. Docker and Kubernetes. So these are the tools. Those are called as the DevOps tools. Why we are learning these tools? What is the meaning of learning DevOps? Are you going to learn the coding in the DevOps? Huh? Am I going to teach you what is this class? What is this? What is this? What is this? Huh? Am I going to teach the coding here? No. Coding will be done by developers. Developers will write the code, will give the code in the GitHub. Now, as a DevOps engineer, what you should do? As a DevOps engineer, you need to perform operations. You need to automate the operations of your project to deliver that. How we are going to automate those operations? First of all, we need infrastructure. Where we are going to create the infrastructure? Do you think that companies will purchase all the softwares which are required nowadays? No, companies are going for cloud. Company will pay the money for AWS. AWS will give all the things for rent. So we need to, company will give you an AWS account, guys. Tomorrow when you join in the company will give you an AWS account. In that AWS account, you need to create the infrastructure. Either you can create the infrastructure manually, or you can create the infrastructure by writing some code using Terraform. Mostly nowadays people are using Terraform to set up infrastructure. Once the Terraform you created the infrastructure, you need to install some softwares which are required for your project. Those softwares you can install by using Ansible. What is the GitHub? What is the Git? Git is used to download the code from the Git repository. Then what is Maven, which is used to compile and package the code. Then what is SonarQube? It is used to check the code quality. What is Jenkins? It is used to deploy the project into servers. How we are going to deploy the project on the servers? Using Dockers and Kubernetes. Dockers and Kubernetes very important in the DevOps. Without having the practical knowledge on the Dockers and Kubernetes, it is very difficult to clear the interview. The most important topic in the entire DevOps course is Dockers and Kubernetes. Okay, once my application is running on the AWS cloud with Dockers and Kubernetes, I want to monitor how my application is running. Is my application running successfully? Are there any problems in my application? we are going to monitor the application. We are going to monitor our clusters by using monitoring tools. What are those? Grafana, Prometheus, ELK. Grafana, Prometheus, ELK. Grafana and Prometheus are used to monitor the cluster, how the Kubernetes cluster is running. ELK is used to monitor how the servers are executing, how the application is executing. Log files we are going to monitor by using ELK stack. Grafana, Prometheus, ELK, these are for monitoring purpose. Grafana, Prometheus are used to monitor your infrastructure. I mean, the cloud clusters that we have created on that application execution. ELK is used to monitor logs of our application. So see what are the tools available. Git, Maven, Sonar, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Grafana, Prometheus, ELK, Nexus also will come. What is Nexus? Whatever the package we have created for our application, that package we will store into one server that is called a Nexus repository server. That also comes into our DevOps. Now see, whatever the tools I mentioned yesterday, what I'm going to cover in the DevOps is all the tools are covered here. Maven. What is the purpose of this Maven? Maven is build tool. What we are going to do with this Maven, we will use this Maven for compilation, compile the project and package the project using Maven. What we are going to do with this GitHub? What is this GitHub, guys? GitHub is a repository server. What repository? Code storing. Code will be stored into GitHub. What is this Sonar Cube? Code quality checking, code review software. Quality check. Quality check, code quality check will done by Sonar. What is this Nexus? Is to store build artifacts. Whatever the jars was, whenever you do the package, that packages will be stored into Nexus. That is build artifact. What is a Jenkins? Deployment tool. Whatever the project we have taken from the GitHub, we will package by using Maven. We will do the review of the project by using Sonar. Then we will deploy the project into servers by using Jenkins. What is the Terraform? To automate infrastructure creation, servers, machines creation. To automate infrastructure creation in cloud, we will use a Terraform. What is this Ansible? Ansible is configuration management software. Installing the softwares, updating the softwares, configuration management we can do by using Ansible. What is this Docker? Docker is containerization platform. Deployment will be simplified. Deployment will be simplified using this Docker. What is this Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an orchestration platform. It is used to manage the containers. Docker containers we are creating, right? Those Docker containers can be managed by using this Kubernetes cluster. Kubernetes is an orchestration platform to manage containers, Docker containers. Prometheus and Grafana are data monitoring tools. It is a alerting software, monitoring and alerting. It will monitor how our servers are running, monitoring software. Grafana visualization software, visualization. So graphs, charts, everything we can see. Graphs, charts, we can see how our servers are running. Prometheus will monitor. The Grafana will display that in the charts, graphs. Beautiful dashboard will be available when you go for Grafana. ELK logs monitoring. How the applications are executing can be monitored by using ELK stack. So learning the DevOps, nothing but learning these tools. That's it. If you know these tools, how to work with these tools, then you are qualified DevOps engineer. ELK stack, Maven, GitHub, Sonar, Nexus, Jenkins, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana, ELK. ELK means Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. These are used to monitor logs of our application. How the application is executing, we can monitor by using this ELK stack. Are you able to understand what is DevOps now? Now tell me, do we really need programming knowledge to learn the DevOps? After explaining this much, I hope you got some clarity what you are going to do as a DevOps engineer in the company. Do you need to have the knowledge on Java and Python? Do you need to learn the Java and Python? We are going to work after the development, after the code is available. Terraform, Ansible, Git, Maven, Sonar, Nexus, Docker, Kubernetes, Grafana, Prometheus, ELK. That's it. You are going to become DevOps engineer if you learn all these tools. If you learn all these tools. You got the clarity. I hope yesterday so many people asked this question. Sir, I am not from programming background. Sir, I am not from IT background. Sir, I am from mechanical. I am from civil. Can I learn the DevOps? Now you can answer the question yourself. Whatever the question you have the answer for your question. Do you need to know Java? Do you need to know Python? Do you need to know .NET to do these operations? No. Now, yesterday I told, what are the prerequisites for the DevOps? What are the prerequisites to learn the DevOps? What are the prerequisites to learn the DevOps? If you have 3 months of time, then you can learn this. That's it. You should have interest. You should have that interest, and you should have the time, and you should have that patience. Then you can learn the DevOps and AWS. Coding knowledge is not required. I think आज आपको पूरा picture आ गया. You got the full picture, full clarity. What is DevOps? What the DevOps engineer will do? Okay, so Ujjwal is asking one question. DevOps process operations will start before the development or after the development? Actually, in order to do the development, they need some infrastructure, right? They need some servers to deploy the application. They need servers to do the review and all. Na? So here, DevOps and development will start parallelly. Development and operations will start parallelly. Okay, it is not like completely after the development. So during the development, they need to test their code, right? They need to test the code by deploying into AWS cloud. They need to test their code. They need to review that code by using Sonar. They need to deploy the code by using Jenkins. They need to monitor the code by using Grafana and Prometheus and ELK. So development and operations will happen together. Development team, operations teams should work together. That is the collaboration. That's where DevOps comes into picture. It is not like completely after the development is completed, we are going to start our work. No. Developers and operations will happen parallelly. Development team and operations team should work parallelly. Together they have to work. That collaboration is required. That is the reason DevOps is a culture which is going to establish the collaboration between the development teams and operations teams. Samjha? Right. So here, sir, DevOps tools are clear for us. DevOps tools are clear for us. Maven is used for building purpose. That means project compilation, project packaging we can do by using Maven. GitHub is used to store the source code of the project. SonarQube is used to review the code. Nexus is used to store the build artifacts. Jenkins is used to do the deployments automation deployment. We can say CI/CD with the pipelines. I will cover the Jenkins with pipelines. Terraform to create the infrastructure in the cloud. Ansible is used to manage the configurations in our infrastructure. Docker is a containerization platform to make applications deployment simplify. Kubernetes is an orchestration platform which is used to manage the containers of our Docker. Prometheus is a monitoring software. Grafana is a visualization software. ELK stack is logs monitoring tools. Okay, so if you know these tools, then you are a DevOps engineer. But the thing is, how we are going to set up these machines? For Jenkins, I need one machine. For Docker, I need one machine. For Kubernetes, I need some machines. For Terraform, I need one machine. For Jenkins, I need one machine. Are we going to purchase all the computers to learn these tools? Or we are going to take the virtual machines from the AWS? Are we going to purchase these machines? Now, if I don't use AWS cloud to take the classes, how many machines I should have purchased? to take the classes for the people on the DevOps. You see how many machines I'm using in the AWS now. How many instance means one virtual machine. How many machines I'm using now? 20. So do you think that I'm going to purchase 20 computers to teach you the DevOps? No, we will take virtual machines from the cloud. Who will provide the virtual machines for us? AWS. So why we need to learn the AWS? To set up infrastructure on the cloud. We need to set up infrastructure on the cloud. Okay, now I'm going to take a virtual machine. I'm going to install the Terraform. I'm going to install the Tomcat. So for example, I forgot to mention web server. Here web server means Tomcat. You should know how to work with the Tomcat. One more tool, Tomcat. Here Tomcat will be available. Here Tomcat will be available. Here Tomcat will be available. Tomcat is our web server which is used to run our application. Tomcat, here I think I forgot to mention the Tomcat, right? Tomcat. Tomcat is one software. What is this Tomcat? Web server to execute our application. Tomcat is a web server which is used to execute our application. So as a DevOps engineer, you should know all these tools. Maven, GitHub, Sonar, Nexus, Jenkins, Tomcat, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana, ELK stack. Then you are qualified DevOps engineer. In the DevOps, most of the trainers will explain you all the tools, but they don't focus much on the Dockers and Kubernetes because Dockers and Kubernetes little difficult concept. Little confusion will be there. And in the complete the DevOps course, the most challenging tool is Kubernetes. It is difficult. Upfront, I'm telling you, Kubernetes is little difficult. You need to spend very good amount of time to understand the Kubernetes. Dockers and Kubernetes are very important. Almost it is going to take 30 days, 30 hours, I mean to say, only for Dockers and Kubernetes. Maven we can complete in 2 days, GitHub we can complete in 3-4 days, SonarQube 1 day, Nexus 1 day, Jenkins may take 1 week, Tomcat just 1 day, Terraform 2 days, Ansible 1 week, Docker Kubernetes 1 month. That much depth will be there when you go for Dockers and Kubernetes. Little difficult. Got it. Now, sir, you are using 20 machines in the AWS now? How much you are paying AWS? How much bill you are paying monthly to AWS? Free. 1 year free. You no need to pay single rupee also for first 1 year. For practice, you no need to pay single rupee also for the AWS to use the cloud infrastructure. You can use these things for practice purpose for free of cost in the AWS. Samjha? Once our practice is completed, we are going to terminate it. That's it. I'm terminating my instance. I will tell you how to practice that in the AWS cloud. Oh, now next, once these instances are created, I'm installing the softwares in these instances, right? These instances I'm creating using Linux, not with Windows. All these machines are Linux based machines. I taken a machine with Linux. In that I installed Tomcat, I installed Sonar, I installed Nexus, I installed Jenkins, I installed Docker, I installed Kubernetes, I installed Ansible. All these machines are Linux based machines because Linux is highly recommended than Windows to set up our application infrastructure. So that is the reason we are using Linux plus AWS plus DevOps in our syllabus. We mentioned Linux, AWS, DevOps. First, we are going to learn the Linux because without having the Linux, you cannot set up the infrastructure. If you learn the DevOps with Windows machines, now it is waste of your time because in the company, nobody will use Windows machines for DevOps operations. We will use Linux only. Now you understand why I am teaching Linux first. Now you understand why we are teaching Linux first, because we are going to set up the infrastructure on the cloud. To set up the infrastructure, we need to know AWS. We will cover AWS. Before going to cover the AWS, first you need to learn the Linux. Okay, when it comes to the course, guys, what you can do here is you can learn Linux plus DevOps first. You can learn this. Then you can learn the AWS. You can learn these two parallelly. First you need to learn the Linux. After Linux, you need to learn the DevOps, because directly if you go for DevOps, you can't understand. First, Linux knowledge is required. Linux, DevOps, and AWS you can learn parallelly. Good. That is what I'm telling you. DevOps is going to start at the morning 8 o'clock, 8:15 a.m. after 1 week of time. You can, by that time, our Linux will be completed. Once Linux is completed, DevOps and AWS you can do parallelly. Why? Because AWS is used to set up the infrastructure. AWS cloud infrastructure setup we will do. DevOps is used to automate operations required to deliver our application. Development plus operations, that is called as DevOps. Development plus operations is called as DevOps. DevOps is a culture. DevOps is a process. DevOps nothing but set of practices. DevOps nothing but set of practices. DevOps process will help us in simplifying the project delivery process. DevOps culture is used to automate project delivery process to clients. Easily and quickly, we can deliver the project to client using DevOps practices. Using DevOps culture, we can establish collaboration between development team and operations team. Development team is responsible to develop the project. That means they are going to do the coding. Operations team responsible to deliver the project to the client. This is called release. In order to do the release process simplified, we are using DevOps tools. AWS cloud for infrastructure, Linux operating system. Now you understand why we are using Linux, why we are learning Linux, why we are learning this AWS and DevOps to automate our application deployment process. We are using these things. I hope you got the clarity on what is DevOps. Still anybody not able to understand what is DevOps? Still anybody not able to understand what is DevOps? Very good. Fine. Guys, so with this, we understood the course details. What is our course? What are the prerequisites? What is the course content? And who can learn? And what are the tools we are going to learn? And what is the purpose of those tools? And we discussed why we are going for AWS, right? And today we understood what is this DevOps, why we need to learn the DevOps. So tomorrow I'm going to explain software development lifecycle. Tomorrow's session is very, very important. Software development lifecycle with a waterfall methodology and agile methodology. Waterfall and agile I'm going to explain in tomorrow. So if you attend the tomorrow session, you will get more clarity on the DevOps. Okay, today you got almost 70% clarity on what is DevOps, why DevOps, what tools are there. Tomorrow you will get 100% clarity on the DevOps if you attend this agile methodology class. Software development lifecycle, how the project development will happen, when we need to set up the infrastructure for the project, when the development will happen, when the deployment will happen, how our work will start, what would be our day-to-day activities as a DevOps engineer in the company, and how the delivery will happen for a project. What is the project development lifecycle? That I will explain in the tomorrow session. Tomorrow session is also at the same time. Okay? So please don't miss the class for tomorrow. So tomorrow you will get some more clarity. I mean to say better clarity you will get after the tomorrow session about DevOps, DevOps culture, DevOps process, the roles and responsibilities of the DevOps engineer, what we need to do in the company as a DevOps engineer. All these things we are going to learn in the tomorrow session. Okay, I'm going to share this screenshot. You can take a screenshot in your mobile, guys. I think currently group is not created. Once the group is created, I will share these details. So as of now, you can take a screenshot in your mobile for this notes, what we discussed today. If you look at the diagram, you will understand completely what is happening here. Have you taken the screenshot in the mobile? Yep. So tomorrow class is also free for you guys. So you can attend the class tomorrow at the same time with the same Zoom link. If you don't have the Zoom link, guys who are watching from YouTube, go to our website, Ashok IT. There online training schedule. You can see DevOps with AWS. So 9:30 a.m. is the class. This is the Zoom link. So if you click on this button, it will redirect you to the Zoom registration page. Provide your correct mail ID and mobile number so that I can share the class notes with you after the class is completed. I have seen some people has given incorrect email ID, incorrect mobile number. You will not get the class notes if you give incorrect mail ID in the Zoom registration. Okay. So now it is time for the doubts clarifications. Anybody who is having doubts, so please raise your hand in the Zoom. And people who are watching from YouTube, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on bell icon so that you will get the updates. So we'll meet again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Tomorrow is Saturday. I can spend some more time for you. I can spend some more time with you to clarify all your doubts. Now I will interact with you guys. Please join in the Zoom. I'm stopping the live stream. Thank you. Bye bye.